All right, guys. So slightly different change of pace today. Or sorry, I don't even think I just said that right. But slightly different change. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. Change of pace today. Slightly different video. We're gonna be vibing on the floor today, so you guys get a little bit of a wider view. I got this really nice webcam. Shout out to Pastel's dad for letting me borrow the webcam. And we're vibing. This week we're talking about community. And I really thought a lot about this. I actually made a video, like a 20-minute video, that was me just walking outside talking about community. I just took a little walk in the morning. I only dropped a 30-second clip of it. And I don't think I'll drop the rest of it. So I think I will. Yeah, I mean, I've thought a lot about this. I feel like I'm marinated on a lot of thoughts about community and like what it means and why, and also just how to build it. So like, I figured I would just tell you guys exactly what I did to build a community that's spanned 6 countries, 3 communities actually that span 6 countries, run 9 different community events in 5 major cities across the United States, freaking partner with billion-dollar companies, all from one community, all from one single community. And I did this as a 20-something-year-old artist that nobody knows yet, in Ohio, so if I can do it, then you're gonna crush it, so I'm just gonna honestly tell you exactly what I did to build my communities and kind of how I did it, through a bunch of failure, a bunch of trial and error, bunch of just like really flailing and trying things and figuring things out on the spot, on the freaking job. So hopefully this helps, so that maybe you don't have to, you can avoid some of that time and effort and pain and just like confusion and uncertainty. So the first thing that I did when I'll separate IRL communities, like local communities, between, cities, states, neighborhoods, things like that, and on internet communities, right? Like, I think there is I think there are some distinctions. There's definitely some distinctions, but there's also some overlaps for sure. I do have experience building community in person as well, locally. That's where, I mean, I didn't even realize it, but yeah, that's what I had been doing by just going out and, going to parties and talking to people and hanging out, you know what I'm saying? Going to shows, going to open mics, and just like meeting people, talking to people, and working with people and doing this and that, just over years. I didn't realize I was building community like locally or in real life. But I think a lot of those skills for me, or a lot of that, I don't know. I don't know. It took a long time for me to learn certain lessons about just like people, and just also time for me to grow as a person, because at the end of the day, like if you're really going to be building community, like you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to build something that's not just about you, So you're going to have to do things that aren't just about you, that aren't just for you, And I think that does take a lot of humility. And I don't think that when I was, in real life or whatever, or locally, I don't think I came from that perspective all the time of like, doing something that's not just for me. I felt like sometimes, but I feel like most of the time I feel like I was kind of, just operating at a me level, and I think that's fine. But I think that's why like I never really built like a really big like community of people that I hang out with regularly, and like like we freaking like we share ideas regularly, and we like stuff like that. So like so getting into internet communities, right? Because in 2022, or sorry, the end of 2021, December 2021 to be exact, I got into Web3. I got introduced to Web3. And if you don't know what that is, that's fine. It's fine. It's not even like super relevant, but I got into something called Web3. They're a friend of mine, Pastel, actually. Shout out to Pastel. I hadn't really done anything with blockchain since I had been just messing around in like 2015 in high school with like with the deep web, you know what I'm saying? The dark web, Silk Road, all that stuff, and like kind of getting interested in that. And so I hadn't explored the blockchain since I bought Bitcoin to just explore the deep web or whatever with my friends. And so yeah, 2021, I saw Pastel, which isn't, who's an artist that we're in the same place. We're both in the same city. we've been around each other for a while. I was a huge fan of his music, like, for a long time, and just his artistry. And so I saw him posting about Web3 just on the timeline on Twitter. And which is weird because I wasn't even big on Twitter. I don't know why I was even on there, but I saw him posting about it on Twitter, and it made me really curious. Like all this metaverse stuff and this and that. And one thing leads to another. I asked him a bunch of questions about it. I hit him up. He agrees to actually sit down with me and answer all my questions, like, which is really, really awesome. And like, just ever since then, one thing led to another, and I just got obsessed. You guys. I got freaking obsessed with Web3, you know? And it was to the point where I was, you know, Pastel gave me some really great Twitter accounts to follow and, like, have their notifications on, and I did. Like the really big Web3 influencers, like crypto people, you know, and that was my starting point. But then from there, it was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is awesome. And all these people were doing these things called Twitter Spaces, where, like, they were talking on Twitter, and it's like live audio, and other people come up on the stage and they talk, and then they're like putting things at the top, like, and I was just like, wow, like, this is freaking awesome. Like, and it was like Thanksgiving, you know, it was like, I'm at home anyway, you know what I'm saying, like, chilling. So why not be on Twitter 24/7 and 24 hours a day on, you know, just listening to these people talk about whatever, really, Web3 or this or that or whatever. And so I was just, like, really obsessed, and I was reading about it, and I was, you know, just wanting to learn more about it. And I kept, you know, seeing these Twitter Spaces, and I was listening to them, and then I started to request to speak so I could get on the stage and I could ask questions. And then it was just like, bam. And then from there, you know, I started meeting people. Just meeting people, and people started meeting me. And yeah, you know, and then there's these projects and these communities that were already existed. Shout out to Smiles, that was really cool, and I thought their art was cool, and the whole vibe kind of fit my thing, you know, because I'm big into streetwear and stuff like that, and just like the culture, like the hip-hop culture, the rap shit that they were kind of doing, and the Jay-Z stuff, like. And so I was just like, okay, I kind of just gravitated towards that project, and it was a whole community of people that also gravitated towards that kind of stuff. And like the 3D like aspect was super cool to me. So like all of that together, like I just was like, oh my gosh, like, well, who are these people that are making this art, that are making these really freaking high quality 3D pieces, and like putting it together in a certain way, and like have this, you know, have this really excited community of people that all love this same stuff too, you know. And so I joined it, you know, and I got in the Discord, and I started talking to people, meeting people. Shout out to Pastel, who actually let me know. That's how I found out about that project also, about that community also, because yeah, you know, I don't know, I just saw it, and then I was like, oh, I actually really like this, you know, I like this too, I like what they're doing. They got the streetwear, they got the music, all this stuff, and then boom, so there's a community of people. That was my first on internet community, like I would say my first official internet community that I joined, that was like, I'm in it, like I'm asking questions in there, I'm meeting people in there, I'm going to this, I'm going to that, I'm like, you know what I'm saying, like I'm on top of it, I'm looking at the announcements, like talking to people, just meeting people. And then it just kept going. Like I kept finding communities behind people. Like I kept finding things that interested me, that like vibrated with me, like resonated with me, that I was curious about, whether it was like certain art or like style or kind of visual, like just aesthetics, or just like a certain idea or vibe. So I just kept, like after that it was this community, and then I was like, oh, I found this one, and these people they like art and they like music, and they like, you know, they kind of feel like outcasts, and like, oh, like let me go over here. And there's all these people that also felt the same, and they were all into the same thing, and they're all creative, and they're all ambitious, and and so I was just like, wow, like, oh my God, like this is fucking awesome. Like this is so fucking sick. Like, oh my gosh, like, man, I'm like making friends on the internet, and I'm meeting people across the country, across the world. Like they're not in Ohio, you know what I'm saying? Like most of these people were not in Ohio. They're in Texas, they're in California, they're in Brazil, they're in freaking Amsterdam, they're in like, and it was just like, wow, man, like this is crazy. They're in New York, they're in New Jersey, they're in Connecticut. Like, wow, this is freaking crazy, you know? Like half of these places I haven't even been, yet I'm talking to people that are from these places, and we're friends, and we regularly like share things with each other, and like kind of encourage each other, and just like, you know, like are there for each other. And it was just like, wow, man, like this is really special. And so that's how I really initially built a lot of my like community and like relationships on the internet, was just looking at things that I was interested in and then just like looking into them, and then the communities that are also behind them. Because if you like something, if you're curious about something, there's probably already a group of people, like 9 times out of 10, there's probably already a group of people that have formed around that exact same interest that you're looking at, or around that exact same thing, that are already, it's already there. So that's exactly what I did. I joined it. I got in the group chat, whether it's group chats, whether it's, you know, voice calls or voice chats. Discord has a voice channel, in some of them, you know, if people allow them. So yeah, that's just like how it kind of got started. And I just ended up meeting a lot of people and just forming this kind of like foundation, you know, like I feel like I had a home base on the internet. Like I had a home on the internet, like in the vast infinite internet, I had a home base, you know? And so it just made me feel, it made the experience a lot better of like being on the internet. And then it also made the experience of being an artist a lot better, being a creator a lot better. And, you know, because I got to collaborate with these people. I got to learn from these people. I got to this, and that. And so eventually, you know, after joining and, you know, basically building, after joining 3, 4, 5 communities, 6, 7, 8, 20 freaking communities, and like meeting people, probably even more than that, honestly, meeting people and just talking to people, I was like, you know, actually, like, all of these are pretty close to what I am, or like what I feel like I am into. But there's not necessarily one that is exactly what I'm into or exactly resonates with exactly who I am as a person. So only at that point, this was after I've joined dozens of communities, met, hundreds, maybe even thousands of people, actually. That's when I kind of looked around. I was like, like I actually want to, like, there's not actually something that's for me yet, you know? Like I did look. And I saw everything, and there's not something that's exactly for me. You know what I'm saying? For exactly the person that I am and exactly the stuff that I want to do. So that's when I started my own, you know. And I just, honestly, I opened up a group chat. I threw in my friends, people that were already following me, were following each other. I've been seeing their work for a while. Maybe we talked here and there. Maybe not. Maybe we've been in a space together. Maybe not. I don't know. Just like people that I liked, artists that I liked, and, you know, I kind of felt familiar with. And then that's how it all started. That's how I started the one freaking community that actually changed my freaking life. You know, actually I would say there's, you know, this community, a couple communities actually changed my life, but the one community that I started this one community that, you know, completely changed my life, that, you know, again, spanned 6 countries. We've done 5 different events across, 9 events across 5 major U.S. cities, partnered with billion-dollar companies. Like, all of that started from just opening up a group chat and then having an idea to, like, have an event. You know, like, to, like, 2 months after that group chat, you know, and we decided on a name together. It was Prism Collective. And then 2 months after that, we're doing our first event. And I got super lucky because one of the people that I had met previously in another community that I was in, which I met a lot of other people that I'm working with still to this day, or are friends with still to this day, you know, we had teamed up and they had founded this community with me. And so, yeah, we teamed up, and within 2 months, we put together this really incredible gallery called Prism World. And we got over, you know, hundreds of submissions from artists all over the world. We got this beautiful venue in Brooklyn, and my co-founder, you know, they're an art director full time, so they knew exactly what they were doing when it came to like printing artwork and like displaying it. So, you know, we were able to print out these full quality pieces, put them in the car, drive them all the way from Ohio to New York, and then hang them around this beautiful venue in Brooklyn. And then we had, you know, someone in the group chat, insane, right? This all came from just this one community. Someone in the group chat, you know, they work with Coachella on their live events, so they teamed up with us to do an AR experience so people can interact with the pieces. So it was just like insane, you know, it was an incredible, like, it was just insane. Like, this community actually changed my freaking life. And after we did that event, we had musical performances, we did freaking giveaways, we did, you know, trivia. Like, we just had so much fun. We had food there, and it was just like freaking awesome, man. I got to meet my friends that, you know, one of my friends flew out from Brazil to come. One of my friends that I hadn't seen in forever that lives in Brooklyn came out. One of my friends from here. So it was just like, wow, like, this is freaking crazy. Like, all these people that I've been talking to on the internet are real, and now they're here. Like, wow, that's freaking nuts, And so, and then the event was just freaking beautiful, and it was awesome. And so we just like did that 9 other times after that, essentially, kind of like curating these performances, and artists from our community, we all got to perform, we all got to display our stuff, we all got to like just kind of celebrate, like, just like turn up together, and just like, it was just like freaking awesome. And we ended up having studio sessions, all this stuff, like studio sessions in Miami at this big Airbnb that we got, and it was sponsored, and like that was our first thing, run with sponsors, that event in New York. And so yeah, like, man, like, I don't know, that like really gave me, and just having that community, and I having that community, like having built that community, apparently was really valuable to companies, like there are companies that want to align with whatever that interest is that you're building your community around, or whatever that purpose is that you're building your community around. There's probably companies that are trying to reach the same exact people that you are just vibing with, that are your friends, that are your community members, so that, that turned into learning how to, do sponsorships and stuff like that. And so, yeah, and that was just a matter of reaching out to people completely cold, just finding any email on the internet. If there's a company that you want to work with, that you feel like, that you want to work with, that they align with you, that, whatever, just literally find any email on the internet. I was reaching out to contact emails if I didn't have one. I was doing everything I could to find some way to contact these companies that I wanted to get in touch with, and I just emailed them cold. So it's not even, I had zero connections. I had zero leverage, zero anything. Like, again, this is just like off the dirt, like kid from Ohio. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not not a ton of people know me yet. Like, nothing, no advantages that you can think of, I didn't have them. So I'm just saying, I'm saying if I could do it, you can absolutely freaking crush it. Just, that was just, getting sponsors for our events was just a matter of like reaching out to people cold and often. And I'm reaching out to more people than I was even at the beginning, because I've learned a lot more about like how to kind of like be more efficient. But it's still like a matter of just like improving that same process at this point, and just like learning. It's just always learning and just trying shit. Literally just trying shit. Like, all of this happened just for me just trying shit, just being curious and trying shit. That's all of this. That's literally the entirety of, this community that changed my life. Started from me just genuinely being curious, genuinely like being interested in other people, genuinely just having interests and curiosities, and just following them just following them really freaking hard, and not believing that we couldn't do things, like host a gallery, an art tech gallery, AR freaking immersive, like in Brooklyn, from, being some random people from Ohio, like, why wouldn't that be possible? You know what I'm saying? So I think community has absolutely changed my life in a million different ways. I could probably make a video about how much community has changed my life. That would be a long video, because genuinely, like, changed my freaking life, bro, in way more ways than I ever would have thought. I was just being curious, and I was just, like, I don't know, I was being curious, and I was also just really just being serious about my curiosities, though, like, not holding back, just leaning into them. So yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of trying. If you guys need anything, or have any like questions or anything, or like anything that you want me to specifically kind of dive into, because we're getting on 20 minutes, so I don't want to make this video a million freaking minutes long. But if you have something specific that you want to ask, or like anything, that you have a question about, definitely like comment on here. I do post these on YouTube. If you're on Twitter, I post these on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, I post the clips on Twitter, and a lot of I have like live conversations on Twitter also with my, awesome freaking amazingly talented friends, my community, so that is what we do. If you want to be a part of the community, a part of this private group chat we have, you absolutely have to come to the Twitter Spaces. There's no way around it. It's a vibe check thing. We got to make sure you're a vibe for us, and you got to make sure that we're a vibe for you, so that's how we do it. Every single Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, go on there. I am dropping a new freaking record, Ride or Die, on Friday, and you can pre-save that John now and get an early listen. So if you made it this far, definitely go in my bio. You're going to see it somewhere. Freaking go. Pre-save Ride or Die is coming out Friday. I'm not going to I'm not going to get off you guys' necks for, at all in the next couple of months. So you're going to get probably tired of me, but I'm just going to let you know early. If you want to listen early, if you want to be an early supporter, you can. The opportunity is there. I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Peace and freaking love. Crash Road. Gang, gang, gang.